everyone, Sandy here, and this is Creative Discovery in PaintShop Pro. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, a very warm welcome. Please click on the subscribe button in the bottom right hand corner, and this way you'll be able to find your way back to my videos. Now this is a Sunday series video, so that means it's aimed at the beginner. This is a Halloween themed tutorial. And what I'm going to do here is just put a little collage together of a few elements. Now remember, this is based at the beginner, so it is very simple, but anyone can do it. There are some images to get from Pixabay. 2 of these are PNG files, and I also have a zip file with a mask and a picture tube of bats. Now some of you may have this in your PaintShop Pro program already, but some of you may not, so I have supplied it. Okay, go and get all those things ready, open up PaintShop Pro, and we'll hop into the tutorial. Here is a little preview of what we are going to be making in this tutorial. Okay, let's start off by opening all the images that we have. So from Pixabay, you grabbed this one, duplicate, and close the original. We are going to resize that to 40%. So go to Image, Resize, and 40 in both of those, and click OK, and Sharpen, Adjust Sharpness, Sharpen. You also grabbed from Pixabay these 2 images, and they are PNGs, which means they have transparent backgrounds. So just leave those over there for the moment. Now there was also a zip file with this Halloween mask in it, and just minimize that for the moment. And I also supplied a picture tube of bats. Now you may already have this, but I have supplied it for those people who do not. You do need to put that into your picture tube folder. You also need to make sure that PaintShop Pro is directed to that folder, so whatever folder you have your picture tubes in that is in your file locations, that is the one that you need to put it into. Okay, now on with this tutorial. We are going to go to your layers palette, and with this image selected, right click on the background and promote background layer, so you now have a raster background to work with. You are going to add a new raster layer, and you're going to drag that layer underneath raster 1. Click on your foreground box, and in the HTML code put FDBE8F. It's an apricot color. We are going to flood fill, so activate your flood fill tool, that raster underneath with that color. Now you won't see anything in your image because it's underneath, but if you look in your layers palette, you will see that that is that apricot color. Now activate raster 1. If you have this mask from image icon, you can click on that. If not, you need to go to layers, new mask layer from image. Now the mask that we did minimize down here was SG Halloween 11, so we're going to go to the source window here and find that SG Halloween 11, which is a JPEG, and click on that. Now create mask from source luminance. Now we need to invert this mask data and then click OK, and then this is the result of that mask. We're going to merge that layer group, and if you have the icon you can click on it, otherwise go to layers, merge, and then merge group. Now you'll have 2 layers now, that mask layer and the apricot underneath, which you can see here. Now because this is a beginner tutorial, we're just going to make a collage with some simple things. So we're going to add the spider, so copy that, or you can drag it straight on to your image, and it is miles too big, so you will need to go to Image, Resize, click that, and put 20% in this time. Do have resize all layers unticked because we only want to resize the spider layer, sharpen that. With your move tool, grab him in the center of his body and move him up to the top here. Now minimize the spider or close it down. We have finished with it. We're going to do exactly the same thing with the witch. So drag the witch on to your image, and we're going to resize her also by 20%. Probably don't need to sharpen, but then we're going to place her up here. Again, we have finished with her, so you can close these down if you wish. We have also finished with the mask, so you can close that. Now this is where we're going to add the bats that were in the picture tube. So click on your picture tube tool and then up here to find your bats. Now this is what they will look like. Now I have supplied that for you, and you should have put that into a folder, so if they're not showing up you need to go and check where you placed them. Click on your bats. Now depending on how big you want these bats to be, you can change the size by changing the scale. Now if you have this create as new raster layer ticked, every bat you will place on here will be on its own new layer. That's probably easier to shift them around if you want to shift them individually if they're not quite exactly where you want them. Place a few bats at 100% and see what you think of the size. Now every time you click you'll get something different because it is set for random. Just click around. Now if you want some smaller ones, if they are too big, and again, as I said, each time you click, you've got a different layer, so you can just delete the ones you don't like, or you can shift them. Now, let's take some smaller ones. Let's go to 75, and we'll just have a little click around with a few of those. Place them wherever you like. So I would go down, let's go to 50, and you can add some tinier ones in there, and just place them wherever you want to. Now we're going to select all, so go to selections and select all, or you can click Control A on your keyboard, or if you have a select all icon you can do that. Now we're going to contract the selection. If you have the icon, click on that, otherwise you need to go back to selections, modify, contract, and we're going to contract that by 15 and click OK. If you want to shift your spider now, if he's too far out, if you have placed him out here and he's half chopped off and you want him a little bit more in the picture, now go to the materials palette and click on the pattern, which is the bottom selection. Okay, then click on the pattern that comes up and then drag your slider right to the top, because the images we are using will be there. The one I want you to find is the moon, which is the image that we minimized. It is the original. So just click on that one and click OK. Now before we flood fill, I want you to go to Layers, Merge, and Merge Visible. If you shifted all your images before we merged, then they should be in the right place. Now we are going to flood fill this outside border with that pattern, but at the moment the selection is surrounding the inner area. So we need to go to selections, invert, to have the selection on the border around the outside. Now flood fill, click somewhere in that border and we will flood fill with that pattern. Now go to Effects, Reflection Effects, Kaleidoscope. The horizontal offset will be -48. The vertical offset will be -96. The rotation angle will be 300. The scale factor will be 58. Then the number of petals is 13. Then we're going to have 0 in the orbits and 12 in radial suction. We are going to use reflect. Then click OK, and then you'll have the orange parts in the corners. Now we're going to add 3D effect in a bevel. Click on the default and then change this one, the bevel, to number 2 and change the width and the depth to 5. Don't change any of the other settings. Click OK. We're then going to add another 3D effect, which will be a drop shadow. We're going to place 15 in the vertical and the horizontal. We're going to place 50 in the opacity and 25 in the blur and the color will be black. Click OK and then repeat that drop shadow, but change the vertical to -15 and the horizontal to -15, and then click OK. Deselect, you can press Ctrl D on your keyboard for that. And there is a very simple collage we've put together using a mask, 2 PNG images and a picture tube. Now there are a lot more images on Pixabay and there are quite a few PNG files that are very, very suitable for doing these sorts of collages. So go and have fun with those. Try out different images, grab a lot of the PNG files over there and see what you can do with them. And that's it. Well, I hope you enjoyed that tutorial, and especially if you're a beginner and you're able to follow everything. Now remember, if you are a beginner and you want to know more about this program, we do have a course over on the website. It will take you from the very beginning of opening up PaintShop Pro right through to every tool in the program. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment, and I will see you again next week for a Tuesday tip and some more tutorials. Bye!